appreciate you dressing up today.
I think we need to say why we're wearing sweaters.
I'm wearing a sweater because this is what I wear.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it's been cold,
I'm sick.
like record-breaking cold temperatures.
I'm sick.
And then I'm not sick anymore. I feel great today. How do you feel?
I'm not feeling great. So we figured out that this is going to be our Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah, it's going to air. I think Valentine's Day is on a Friday. I hope you've planned something nice.
You know what I'm doing and what the girls are doing the day after Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, you guys are all going to you guys are going to the BVI without me.
Well, you can't go, no offense, but you get a house with only one child who takes naps. That's not terrible.
Yes, but you have two kids that if you needed an hour's break, you could sit them in front of a screen and they would be so quiet. This is going to be the best airplane ride of your life.
You're on to me. Well, then, but we do have a 5-year-old. Austin's son is coming. My friend's son is coming.
Yeah, but his parent is coming, so his parent can take care of him. You only have 2 kids that can essentially take care of themselves. They can get themselves dressed, put themselves to bed, read to themselves. Yeah, they can swim.
So anyway, my Valentine's gift to you is taking those kids out of your house.
Absolutely not. You
okayed this. Did you know you okayed it that it was the day after Valentine's Day? Did that occur to you?
Yes, I did. I did know that, and I am okay with that. I'm just expecting a very nice gift.
How angry are you going to be? How angry are you going to be Friday night of Valentine's Day? Packing for the girls, because I that is not my department, packing girls' clothes.
Their stuff will be packed before Valentine's Day because, like I said, I'm expecting a very nice Valentine's night. Even if it's eating with the whole family, it's going to be relaxing, and I'm expecting a very nice Valentine's gift to make up for the fact that you're going on a vacation and I don't get to.
Make up for the fact
I hope that it's the same price as your vacation.
Idea. We're going to get an argument, right? This was your idea. It was your idea. Mm-hmm. When you say price, we own the boat, so
but the plane tickets, I want you to add all of those together and then buy me a gift that's
I will give you 200,000 Delta miles. Is that what you want?
No.
Transfer them over to your account. So anyway, right on the heels of that romanticism, people have asked us in the past, and I have been the shy one. Although before we just started this, I said to you, here's what we're going to talk about. And you said, I was just kidding. I didn't want to talk about that. I guess we should probably talk about how we met and how we got here. We've gotten questions lately about, one person was asking, Sharon with a Y. That's how you know it's classy. Sharon was asking about meal planning and cooking. So I figure we can run all the way through a lot of these topics throughout our story.
Sharon, we're going to blow your mind with that one.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. All right, so let's start with the thing that's going to make you awkward right now. Okay, we were both married to other people once upon a time.
Yes.
We have to start there. Sorry.
We do. We were both married. I was married for a very long time.
Because you were a child bride.
I was very young when I got married. I had 2 kids from that.
The authorities looked into it.
No, they did not.
Yeah, you know.
And so I had 2 kids from that previous relationship.
And that's Charlie and Olivia. That's Charlie and
Olivia.
The girls.
Yes. And then we both got divorced. At this point, we didn't know each other. No, not for a while after we got divorced did we know each other. I, spent a lot of time working on myself after divorce. I had 2 kids. I was a single mom. And honestly, that was the first time because I got married.
As a child.
Very young. That was the first time that I'd really been on my own.
Wait, just so everyone knows you're not really a child bride, just like sort of a child bride. You were engaged at 19 and married at 21? Or no, engaged at 21, married at 21?
Engaged at 20 and married at 21, yes.
Look, I love you. Things I know about you, I would not want to marry you when you were 21. And you definitely would not want to marry me at 21 or 25.
Oh, yeah. No, there was a lot of growing up to do.
And I'm, for kind of perspective here, I'm 38. You're younger than me. Not terribly much younger than me.
I'm still in my mid-30s, yes. You're in your late 30s.
Yeah. Sure.
But, what I was saying is that was the first time that I had been on my own. I owned my own home. I owned my own car by myself. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? Exactly. And then I took care of the girls.
And you were teaching.
And I had a full-time job.
At that point, you were teaching 2nd grade.
Yes. And I was in grad school full time.
For 99% of people out there, and this is nothing to be embarrassed about, the real story, but when someone asks, how did you and Mike meet? What do you say?
Through mutual friends.
Which,
hands down, every single time, through mutual friends.
Is not true, but it's not totally far off because of the Lauren link.
Right.
So here you go. Tell the story. Tell the real story. No, I want to hear this nonsense from your perspective because I know you're going to change things.
No. So I get a friend request from you.
And let me explain why. Well,
let me tell what I did and then you can explain.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get a friend request and
on Instagram.
On Instagram. And in fact, I think I've had people who listen to this podcast try and add me on Instagram. And I just don't add people to my Instagram because my Instagram is literally all kids. It's all of our children, just boom, 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 boom. It's very private. The people that I have added on Instagram are people that I know from high school. I know from college. They're family members. Very, very small amount of people.
Just laughing at you because you're explaining to everybody why you don't have.
Sorry.
This is why I don't have many friends on Instagram.
But my account is private. So you send me a friend request.
You receive a friend request from my account.
Yes. And I look at it and like, first of all, this guy looks familiar. Second of all, I clicked on it. We had some mutual friends and it was mutual friends there was a friend from high school, a friend from college, and a friend from after college. So I was like, this is weird. Maybe we've ran into each other. I send you a message and I just said, hey, do we know each other? I don't add people unless I know them.
That is not what you said.
Really?
You have it. Go ahead.
What?
You have it, don't you?
And I don't know where it is.
If you all could have just seen how fast that phone went. Oh, no, you went, yep, I got it. Oh, no, I don't. You have them all.
I do have them all. I do have all.
What is the first message?
I don't know where it is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
We will pause this podcast or I will just fill time like Mac Miller on the tiny desk going,
I don't know where that screenshot is. I would have to go back.
Oh, you know exactly where it is.
No, I don't.
You are full of it right now. Don't lie on camera. You're the worst liar. You're turning bright red. That's what you do when you lie.
I honestly don't.
So I'll fill in some gaps here as you find the thing that you know exactly where it is. Did you already find it?
Yes.
Well, can we get, wait. When we edit this, can we get a shot clock of how long that took? Because that was faster than the NBA 24-hour shot or 24-second shot clock.
Because we had just gone through this. No. No, I will read it. Absolutely not. I will read it. What I sent to you, and I obviously didn't say, I said, this is a weird question, but do we know each other? I know we have mutual friends and you look really familiar. So I guess
that last line, you look really familiar. I know what that meant. Just kidding.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely. I was very naive in the dating game. Like I didn't date.
But for everyone thinks that this is, running around messaging random people. So we, at the time, 2021, there was no podcast, obviously. There was no YouTube Shorts, and there was no TikTok. Because you started the TikToks.
Right. There was the very old videos of very young Mike without the beard. Not even propped up on the desk because you didn't have the new microphone and stuff.
That is how I look without a beard even now. It's not young. That's how I look. So I've thought about shaving the beard the other day. Remember I told you that?
Oh, yeah, and surprising Wellesley?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't is because I worried that he wouldn't like me.
No.
I'd be scared. That's really the only reason. So we're trying to figure out what are we going to do with a social media presence, and at that point,
at your work, this is back in
this is the work account, and I'm not the only one in my office who has access to the work account.
This never crossed my mind ever. Just so you know.
Well, no, it's fair. So,
and in fact, you didn't tell me this until weeks afterwards.
Yeah, let me tell what it is. It's not that weird. I mean, it's on a business side, it's a little tricky, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the truth. We were trying to be a little tricky. Yeah. So we were trying to grow our Instagram following because I had started making really bad videos. Mm-hmm. Good content, bad production. And at that point, Rachel, who's now head of intake, was 95% marketing stuff. So what we did was we started adding people that liked certain things. We probably liked something that was in the Atlanta area or something. So we'd go on, find the people that liked a bunch of stuff, and then we'd add them to see if we could grow the following. If we add you, will you add us back? And that actually worked. So that you get the friend request and you're like, hey, you look familiar. My name's Ashley. That is
not what I was thinking. That is not it at all.
No, don't do this.
Oh,
we're only reading the first. We're only reading the first message.
No. So you said, instead of saying no, somebody in my office was adding people.
No, because that sounds weird.
You said, so I don't know, which probably sounds funny. I thought the same thing. You look really familiar.
Well, that is true.
And we have a few other common friends on Facebook. So we can play the game where we have crossed paths.
And when we played the game, what did we figure out? We had 100,000% been at the same place at the same time for like years.
Yeah. We lived in the same small town. We lived in Athens. We weren't like undergrads at Athens. We were graduates. We were older than the normal. There were 18-year-old kids going to Bourbon Street. We weren't the 18-year-old kids. We were in our 20s.
I went to Bourbon Street.
Oh, God, that was before you met me.
I went upstairs at Bourbon Street.
Okay.
That's a little different. Downstairs, that's the dancing on tables.
I've been in Bourbon Street
upstairs is a little more casual, a little more relaxed. Yeah, we were definitely in the same places, though, at the same time. Like, there's a 100% chance of that.
Well, and we had one mutual friend that we both knew, and her name was Lauren.
Well, and Lauren comes in on this first conversation.
She does, because you immediately text her and say, how would I know this person, Ashley?
And she goes, you probably know her from Athens. You're probably in the same place at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then you did the same thing to her.
I turned around.
And then she's texting us both.
Sent her the same thing. And I was like, do I know him? And in her credit, she did a great job, like, saying how wonderful you were.
Well, she's the gossip queen. So like I hope she watches this but she is, I don't want to say she's conniving. That's not the right word, but she would be a great reality TV show producer.
Well,
right?
She talked you up and said how nice you were and things. So anyway, Lauren is the mutual friend. So whenever anybody says, how did we meet? I say, oh, through a mutual friend. And I'm kind of talking about Lauren, but that got us in trouble.
If I would have sent the first message, you 1,000% would be like, Mike messaged me. That's what you would tell people if I did. The reason you skipped the first message thing, go to Lauren, is because it's you.
Yes,
that's why.
Yes. It was me.
So then that happens, and then we talk and talk and talk and talk. And then we actually met. This is a good story. Sarah would be a fun one to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So in a previous episode, we talked about how we lived in a townhouse together. So I was living in a townhouse above a pizza place and a bar, if you all remember that. And
I lived, if you're from Atlanta, I lived OTP, so outside the perimeter.
Yeah, north. You lived in Milton or wherever that is. It was a Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, hey, I'm actually coming down to go to a brewery in Atlanta to see some friends. Mm-hmm. And I said, and this is like noon or something, maybe. Yeah. And I said, well, why don't you come here first? Leave a little early, come here first. Yeah. And I forget, I don't know. I don't even know if you would have told me back then. I don't know what happened. What did you do with the girls that day?
The girl, I said I had a...
Oh, were you meeting your mom?
Yeah, I met my mom and I was like, I have a kid-free weekend. I'm actually coming down to Atlanta or a kid-free night. I have some time, so I'm going to come down and hang out with some girlfriends of mine in Atlanta.
Yeah, and then I said, why don't you come and get a drink first with me? Now, at the time, if you Googled where I lived on Google Earth, Google Maps, whatever, and you looked at the aerial view or the street view, you would see a construction site. Well, it's like if you want to, if a TV producer out there ever needs a construction site for like where bodies are dumped, this looked exactly like that.
Yes. Well, and this was my first date that I had been on.
So you say.
It absolutely 100% was my first date. And I was so naive. And you have to think, I hadn't dated I was married for a decade. So this was the first date that I had gone on. And one of my best friends, I was talking to her, and she also was a single mom at the time. And she was like, you need to share your location with me. And in my mind, I go, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I was like, yes, I'm sharing my location with you.
But then she didn't apparently look at it until you went. And then when you get to my house, at some point, she looks at the location and it's a construction site on Google Maps.
Yes. And so she is.
But it's really a brand new, like, great place, right? But it's not, it's 2 years old, 3 years old at that point. Like, yes. Google, get on it here, but like it looked like a construction. The Beltline wasn't even really shown on the map, which is crazy.
Right. We met there and we walked to a place to have a drink.
You came in my house.
I came in the garage. And afterwards...
So when you walk in, so the garage is in the back and you can walk through the garage to the front door, and the front door puts you out on the Beltline where the walking trail is and all the bars and restaurants. So you walked through the garage, through the little landing area and out the front door.
Yes, to go get a beer. And afterwards, my friend was like, Ashley, I cannot believe.
Are you going to tell everyone you broke the touch barrier on the date?
Oh, so.
And then you try to say, I always break the touch barrier, which we just walked down the belt line, went like 100 yards, got a drink.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah, that was it. I did cross the touch barrier.
Yep.
In a way that I.
Yep.
Not like people are thinking. I
was walking. You grabbed my arm.
Yeah, I was walking and I was saying something to you and I touched your arm because.
And in my head, I'm going touch barrier, touch barrier, touch barrier.
Yeah. I talk with my hands. And in fact, people have made comments on some of the videos that I like fidget. And I definitely fidget when we're doing the podcast. I do. But I teach kindergartners and I teach little kids. And when you're talking to them, you kind of touch their arm and you make eye contact and you have a conversation with them. When I
hope you don't run around touching people all day. You're at the grocery store and you're like, hey, sir, do you see any more Campbell's soup? And he's like, I don't know. Oh, my God. Thank you.
You know what, though? I do have to make a conscious effort because when I say thank you, I will touch people and I'll go, thank you. And some people don't like that. And I have to make a conscious.
I would be very weirded out if someone's like, thank you.
Well, I'll touch like the shoulder.
I would say to them, body bubble.
I will touch the shoulder and I'll say, oh, thank you so much. And then I'll walk off. And some people do not. In fact, I do make a conscious effort to not just like randomly touch people. But if I'm having a conversation, you'll see my hands up in the air. And sometimes I will pat you on the shoulder.
It's a lot of explanation for you wanting to touch me.
Oh, my God.
It's a lot of explanation.
His head is just.
So then, let's see. Then you go to that brewery that night. You get a little drunk and lose your jacket.
I think I left I'm just notorious
for. You got drunk and you left your jacket. That's
I'm notorious for leaving things, and I think I left my wallet in the Uber car.
Oh, I don't know if I knew.
Yeah,
that.
I left the wallet. I think
Uber car.
The Uber.
The Uber car. So you. Have a great night that night.
I had a lot of fun with my girlfriend.
And then I guess we just kept talking. This is where I kind of blur out and don't really remember everything.
Yeah, so we kept talking and then you actually invited me back down for another date.
Yes, I did.
The following week, it had to be on a Friday because you were going out of town Saturday. We just watched a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Netflix and chill.
Second date. Ashley, people are going to start talking about you. Second date. No, mention, though, that your parents live south of us now and south of where I used to live.
Yes.
So you used to, and your mom loves the kids. Like, she will take them as every opportunity.
Absolutely.
So you actually met them. It was like a bad custody exchange location. It's like, let's go to the Target. So you go to the Target and you give the kids to your mom. And then that's was right around the corner from where I lived.
Yeah. And it was usually because my mom was asking.
Kidding around. It
was very nice. And it's usually because my mom was like, hey, I want to take the girls to do this. And I actually, after I left your house that night, I went and spent the night at my parents' house.
You did not stay over.
No, absolutely not.
Classy.
Very classy.
A little disappointing, but given now where we are, I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, no, and it was on a Friday night, and I had worked all day, and our schedules are much different. I was a teacher then, so I was up in the morning at like 5:30, getting kids to school.
I was up at 5:30 too.
Because you had stayed up the night
before. Not like going out, but like doing stuff.
Right, working. So when you had asked, hey, do you want to do something? I can only do something Friday of this week.
You were like, no, not really.
I know. I was like, I would love to, but I've been working all day. I was like, can we do something very casual? And so I think we ordered
Italian.
Noni's,
which is now closed.
Oh, yeah. So we had Italian and wine and just watched a movie, and it was very nice.
We watched The Prestige.
We did.
Can you tell me anything about The Prestige?
Oh, I don't remember.
I know, because you're so bad at watching movies. Like it's this. You're really like, you're bad at it. I don't know how.
And I'm like, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen here? What's gonna?
I don't remember that, and I feel like I would have. Thankfully, I don't remember that because I'm watching it for the first time as you. I don't know. And then we did an order. I think we did a soccer game.
Yeah, the following week when you got back in town, we did a soccer game. Me
and you went to Vegas, and you agreed on the plane that you would marry me.
It was not quite like that.
But a friend said to you, "Don't get married in Vegas."
Yeah, as a joke, they said,
"Don't." We went months later.
Months later. Yes, you had met my kids at that point.
I guess we got to do that.
Yes.
All right, finish Vegas, then we'll go backwards.
Well, so we can start with when you met my kids.
Okay. So I've always found it really interesting, and I have no kids from the
Previous
past.
marriage.
Yeah. So I'm your second baby daddy.
Oh my God.
Man, I'm just saying, you know. Look at his face. Don't even have
I don't even have a comeback for that.
This is like when you
true.
called me that name I don't like to be called. That's weird in the first episode.
Oh, Zabby.
Yeah, this is that this is me doing that to you. I'm your second baby daddy.
Okay.
I say that. I like making people uncomfortable with that. I say that sometimes, like at CVS, I'll go to pick up a kid's prescription, and they're like, you know, what name? And I tell them one of the girls' names, and then they look at me like, your name, and I'm like, second baby daddy.
Because you have a different last name than the girls do.
Something I truthfully always found really interesting was I was nervous about meeting the girls, and for my background, I call my stepdad dad. So I have a stepdad I grew up with a stepdad who I met I met when I was 3. Mm-hmm. So I say I met my dad when I was 3.
Yeah.
And so I guess that gives me a little bit of a edge, and you have a stepdad too who you called dad and all that stuff. So we kind of gave us a little edge of kind of having some idea of how this works.
So our background in that family dynamic was we grew up with step-parents that were the father figures.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew you had children. Like, I wasn't a surprise.
That was the first thing that I think I told you.
And when we were talking about meeting, I was like, no, I don't know. Like, let's make sure we really, really like each other. And you said something that a therapist or somebody said to you that I thought was really interesting. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. So I huge advocate for therapy. I think it's great to go and just talk to somebody.
I'm cured. That's why I stopped going.
And anytime I have, kind of a milestone event in my life, I like to talk it out with somebody that's a little bit more qualified and just have a different perspective. And so with a therapist, I had talked about, hey, I am dating this guy. When is the right time to meet the kids? Because in my mind, I was thinking, 6 months to a year.
That's what we were both thinking.
I didn't want to introduce them to you and then you not be around. And the therapist, who had also had other conversations, I knew through conversations with her that I wanted to get remarried at some point, that I wanted, that family. That was like a life goal for me to have.
More kids.
I wanted more kids. I wanted like a family, like I just, that happily ever after that you think of. I still wanted that at that point. She knew that. And she kind of said, well, Ashley, if you wait for a year for your kids to meet them, what if you are completely in love with this person, they're completely in love with you, everything is perfect, and your kids don't like them? She was like, are you going to choose this person over your kids? And I said, absolutely not.
And then you repeat that over and over, and you're 3 guys, you're 3 years in.
Yeah. And she was like, or
counting,
longer.
Yeah, not counting any gaps, obviously.
And she was like, and my age was a factor at that point. And so I was like, you're right. And she was like, I think it's better when you're ready. And if you like this person, kids are very resilient. She was like, it's okay to introduce them.
And that's where Bunker comes into play.
That's where, so we met in a very neutral setting. We went to like just a little
Downtown
outdoor Mexican restaurant, and you brought your puppy, which, by the way, you used that line on me too when we were...
Is it a line?
It absolutely was. We were messaging and I was like, how do I know you? And we were trying to figure that out. And you go, oh, by the way, I have a 12-week-old puppy.
It was probably in context of something.
It was not in context of anything.
Say that out of
yes,
the blue.
you did. Should I check the text?
Sure. Okay. Anyway, no, I don't know. Bringing Bunker, who was less than a year old at the time. You were signed up on that too, because we were like, at least it'll be Mom's friend Mike who has a dog, and we played with the dog. Right.
Well, and I was very concerned for you because your background is you are an only child. You don't really have any cousins.
Concern for me.
Yeah, you've never been around babies. In fact, Wells...
Like I said, I don't really have any cousins. I have one. He does exist.
Right, but did you hang out with? Okay, no. All right. So growing up as a child, it was just you.
Yeah.
And the first baby that you held who couldn't hold up their head was Wells.
Waited for the good one.
Was her child, Wells.
Olivia was 3 going on 4.
Yeah, she was 3.
And Charlie was
6 or 7. I can't remember.
I would have to do math.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like these were like babies I had to hold their head up, but Yeah, I didn't have any kid
And
experience.
I was the first person you had dated with kids.
Yeah, because I said I will never date anyone with kids. That seems really stupid. Mike, don't date anyone with kids. Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm going to go date with kids. That was going on in my head. Yeah. So we went, that went fine. Charlie did not speak because that at the time, Charlie was much more
introverted.
Much more than she is now.
Yeah.
Olivia tricked me to get me walking across the street. Although I attribute that story to Charlie for some reason. That was Olivia who tricked me to walk across the street, right?
Yes, but it wasn't a trick. You just said, hey, I'm going to take the dog to go potty across the street.
Very respectful.
Yes, didn't want to do it around the restaurant.
Take a dump right here next to the queso.
And then both girls can I go with him? And I said, absolutely. So I stayed at the table because I didn't want them to think that we just like ran away from our bill.
So let me just take your kids across the street.
I could
run.
Well, at this point, I knew you very well.
That's when you got really concerned when the ice cream truck and the jingle started coming around. It was a big plan.
And I could see you from where I was sitting. And you guys just walked across the street and walked back. And I said very nicely, you're supposed to hold Olivia's hand. And I think Olivia said something to you.
No, before you said that, Olivia, we walk across the street. Bunker does his thing. We walk back, and Olivia goes, you were supposed to hold my hand. You didn't. I'm telling Mom. Which she still does that even today.
Yeah. So after you met the kids is then when we went to Vegas.
Yeah, me and you.
Mm-hmm. Just the two of us.
And then that's when on the plane or before the plane, your friend said, don't, elope. Don't go get married there.
Yeah. Don't go to the little white chapel,
and
just
then you wrote on my note on my phone, you will marry me.
You said, this is a great idea. And you wrote up a little contract.
Yep, lawyered.
Yes, you did. And here we are, however many years later it came true.
Yeah.
We didn't get married in Vegas, but...
We've talked about how we've got engaged and honeymoon and wedding plan before getting engaged. We covered that. Mm-hmm. But that's how we met. That's the romantic Valentine's Day story for this episode.
Right. Well, and...
I can't wink right now. too sick to wink. My eyes are too heavy.
We dated long distance for a while. Do you remember that?
Anyone who knows how far it is from here to where you live will not. It was a commute away.
It was a commute.
With no traffic, it's 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Well, that didn't keep you from bitching about driving all the way out there.
Because I wasn't leaving at 2 a.m. There was one time I left where there was one time ever I can think of that I left and there was absolutely no traffic.
Yeah.
Olivia's first day of school. First day of kindergarten. Remember that?
Yeah. That's how I knew. I knew then that I was going to marry you. You may not have known it, but I knew then I was going to marry you. Oh. Olivia, so first day of school is big in our house. It was preschool, so she actually was going to a different school, and it was her first day of like big school. She had a book bag, she had a uniform she had to wear, and I was devastated because
you were worried you couldn't take a picture with them. Because when you drop them off, when you would drop Olivia off and then you and Charlie would go to your school where you taught and Charlie went, and you were upset that you couldn't get a picture of the three of them or like the three of you.
Yeah, the three of us. And I was also just devastated because that was my baby. And at the point I thought she might be my last baby, and I babied Olivia for way too long.
Still do.
She's still my baby. And so I was very upset, and I was talking to you one night about it on the phone. It was right before, I think it was the night before, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sad. I have to take her to the school. I'm not going to be able to get a picture of her and I. I've got to drop her off. I'm probably going to cry leaving her for her first day at big school."
Very dramatic.
And
dramatic.
What did you do?
I came up in the morning. Right? Was it in the morning or was it late at night? I don't remember.
I went to bed and you came because you had a key to my house at this time.
Yeah, I did.
My God.
I thought it was in the morning, I would have guessed, but all I know is there was no traffic.
You came up in the middle of the night. You left your house. I think you got at my house at like 1. I was already asleep.
That's not the middle of the night. 1 a.m. is like early bedtime.
For you, for a teacher that has to get up at 5:30,
Bunker I probably got in the car with Bunker. I'm sure I brought him.
Yeah, you did
because he had to come, obviously. But I probably got in the car with him, and he probably thought to himself, "You going to Taco Bell?"
Yeah, probably.
It's that time. It's that time. Like it's a little farther away.
Well, because I remember making a comment because my dog Macy at the time didn't even bark when you came in because she loved you and Bunker so much. But yeah, and then you got up the next morning with us very early. So you slept like 4 hours, got up and you took pictures of me and Olivia, and we have those. And you and Olivia got to take a first day of school picture, and it just made my day.
And then there's the Olivia story of the bathroom. So when you're still living up there, I was coming up there a lot.
You were coming up during.
You better give me some credit.
I will
right now.
absolutely. No, you came up during the week, so we spent the weeks at my house because there really was no way that I could live in Atlanta and make it up to my job in time because being a teacher is such a set schedule, which you learned and you hate the set schedule. Yours is a little bit more flexible.
You want to go get lunch? You want to take today off? And you're like, no, I can't. And I'm like,
I absolutely cannot.
Yeah, you can. Sometimes I would pick the girls up from school or bring the girls to cheerleading or wherever they were doing. Charlie was doing cheerleading at the time.
Right. Well, it was so helpful because I had forgotten what it was like to have two parents in a household, you know?
Ooh.
What?
Ooh. I don't know. Ooh. I like it. I like it. I like that comment. I'm just saying.
As a single mom, you're by yourself, and I was in grad school, so I'm doing like work trying to graduate, make good grades.
I like the comment. I like the comment. That's on part. Just like it's true. It's 100% true.
Even when you go out of town, I'm like being a single parent sucks.
Sure. I like the way you said that.
Okay, so I had forgotten.
Everybody will see the undertones of that probably.
Absolutely.
But I like it.
There were no undertones. I don't have undertones. So I'd forgotten what it was like, and so being a single parent was really hard. So when you would come up there, it was so nice because you would help. And I remember I had a class that I had to meet virtually or something, and it was right when Charlie had cheerleading. So you, thank God, were so nice. And if you hadn't have, I had a great support system. My mom, for sure, somebody in my family, one of my brothers would have done it. So I'm not saying that I was completely alone by any means because my family was so supportive. So you were like, you stay, get your schoolwork done. I'll take Charlie to cheerleading and I'll take Olivia with me.
So Olivia had a bubble or a balloon or something. I think it was bubbles or balloons. And so Charlie's cheerleading. And
it's like an hour-long practice.
Longer than that. It was like an hour
and it's outside at a park. So
me and Olivia went and we were blowing bubbles or playing with the balloons. There's pictures of her doing stupid stuff, like funny stupid stuff. And then she goes, I have to go to the bathroom.
Right. And the park bathroom is
closed.
Right. Well, it wasn't closed. It's a building where you go in and they have a men's and they have a women's.
That's where you thought it happened?
Yeah. Where did it happen?
At a gas station.
Oh, God.
You didn't know that?
No.
It's happening at a gas station.
Oh, okay. Because the bathroom was closed at the park.
So we get in the car. I say to another parent or something because it's like me and the moms. And I say to one of the moms, like, hey, how long does this go for? And I'm like, does it really go for an hour and a half, 2 hours? And I go, yes, it does. We got to be prepared. I'm like, by the way, they cheered for the worst football team known to man. I don't think that football team, it was a team of first-year cheerleaders and first-year football players that were like paired together. They didn't score a touchdown the entire season.
They did not.
I went to every game and I started saying on the other side of the field, I was like, I'm with that team. That team's way better. But we leave Charlie and then me and Olivia go to the gas station. And Olivia, like at this point, is like, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
She's a 3-4-year-old. Her little bladder is going to explode. Sure. You're lucky she didn't potty on herself.
So I have to make the decision. I've never brought a kid into a bathroom, right? So I'm like, where do I bring her? So do you go in
the men's or do you go in the women's?
Right. So I go women's. I open no, I lied. I go men's. I open up the mouth. Anyone in here? No, nobody's in here. So we go in a stall. I think this is right. Honestly, I may be wrong, but we go in a stall, and that's not the funny part of the story. We go in a stall, and she goes to the bathroom.
I think you stood outside the stall, though, didn't you?
Yeah,
you 100%. Stood outside the stall.
Yes.
And she went potty, which is perfect because there's multiple stalls in a men's bathroom.
But then I have to go to the bathroom.
Right. And you can't leave her outside of your stall. You can't leave her outside of the bathroom. And Mike had to make probably one of his first, by himself, parenting decisions. And what did you decide, babe?
So I told her to go near the sinks and just wait for me and don't turn around.
The sink in the
So she's far enough away.
But this is in one stall, right?
No, in the bathroom.
Oh, the bathroom was just a single stall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I went to a urinal so I could see her. In fact, I'm sure I went to the urinal to see her, right? And
make sure she did, because that'd be terrible to tell your girlfriend that I lost your child.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, so I can see her, and I start going to the bathroom, and Olivia.
And you tell her, you say, she's facing the other wall,
right? And I'll tell the full story. I'm taking a picture of myself
Like,
at the time to send
just
you
his face, just his face.
To be like, you know, and
this is the hell that I'm going through right now.
Oh, the picture, it's me with my hand here. I'm going to the bathroom and Olivia's back over here. So and
and all you can see is the back of her head.
And she looks like she's in trouble. Like she's
like her nose in the corner.
Yeah, she's in the corner and I'm like, don't turn around, don't turn around. And it's a live photo and you can hear, if you play the live photo, you can hear Olivia go.
You can hear you peeing and then
Olivia goes, I can hear you peeing.
And you said, okay, at the end of it.
Okay. Yeah.
And he said that to me.
Such a stupid story.
And I played that live video over and over and over because it's so funny. And I think you can even like see her bouncing around like with her nose in the corner. But you know what? That was a good choice because we would have had to have a conversation about you can't just leave her outside of a bathroom while you're.
Yeah, I had to go.
And she's a baby.
The other option was to go back to the fields and be like, hey, Susan, Karen, can you watch Olivia and go pee in the woods? And I didn't know if that was a better option. Those talk shit. I wasn't going to be one of their, you know.
Well, and also you probably would have gotten arrested for peeing at a park.
That's not a crime. I think isn't that what you do? You pee at parks.
No, you don't.
Wait until Wells grows up. Okay, that kid's going to pee in the front yard. He's going to pee in the backyard.
As long as he's not one of those kids that come to kindergarten and then pee on the playground.
That happens.
Oh, all the time. All the time. That and other things.
So to fast forward this, because I know somebody asked about it and other people have mentioned it. One of the things that I think we did really well when you and the girls moved in with me, because we were worried about how that would work, that I, didn't have any authority. I don't know if that's the right word, but to tell them what to do or what not to do. Right. Necessarily. Well, but like
we introduced you as a friend, and so a friend is much different than a parent figure.
Yeah, and that eventually, I mean, like when you just are around, when I was around the girls so much, like, oh, they're going to run the street. I'm not going to just be like, I'm a friend, let them get hit by a car. Like I'm going to be like, hey, don't do that. And so like it kind of naturally happened like that. But then when they moved in, we had a conversation with them about rules. And we said, that there are rules, they're safety based. Here are the rules. Like we had a balcony, for example. So, you cannot go on the balcony.
Not a grown up.
Yeah. And that was a nice way, honestly, to kind of start having a relationship where I guess they had to kind of listen to me.
Well, and
because it would have been really weird otherwise.
We had that conversation, I think, too, a little bit before we even moved in, because when we would come and visit, we had to have those, this is not our house per se, or even when it did become our house, there are rules that belong to this house.
Well, and if one of them is just jumping on this couch like a mad woman, like even in the sort of friend, but they've pretty
Olivia used to jump on the couch. I have a video of her jumping on your couch, and I mean, she knew not to do that.
Yeah, but like,
she
I wasn't just like, well, I'm your friend.
Yeah,
I'm your mom's friend. Jump on that. I mean, and that transition pretty quick. I'd be like, Olivia, get down from the couch. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So like that transition happened pretty quickly. I think, at least I thought it did, and it was pretty natural. We haven't gotten the "you're not my father" or anything like that yet.
But that doesn't mean that it won't happen. In fact, I think both of our dads even said, them being stepfathers, said at one point, the kids will yell at you and say, you're not my dad.
Maybe I just remember that because we've talked about like preparing for this. And I think the answer we came up with was,
it's going to happen.
And yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, you're right.
Still got to listen to what I say. Yeah. Get down, stop jumping on the bed.
It doesn't mean that you love them any less.
I'm well aware. I wasn't there when you were born. I know. Yeah. So the quick I know we don't, for a lot of reasons we don't want to talk about this, just it's uncomfortable. Their father is in their life. They do see him.
Yes.
So like that answer one little lingering question people have. But for 90-something% of the time, I don't know the math, they're with us.
Well, they majority of the time is spent with us. Yeah.
People asking about, or Sharon at the beginning I think it was Sharon, was asking about how we kind of, I don't know, Sharon must have been hungry when she wrote this comment.
It was something about meal planning, who cooks, who plans.
She had a bunch of them. Here we go. So who prepares the meals and what types do we eat? She's going to be in for a rude awakening.
I know, very disappointed with our answer.
In parentheses, she wrote keto, vegan, southern, soul. Oh, Sharon.
I wish we had that variety.
Who spends your eyes are about to light up. Who spends the mental energy planning the meals? Do you grocery shop or do we get delivered food? Are you teaching the girls how to cook? Which parent's in charge of that? And are the kids learning how to buy groceries? Which kid likes the kitchen the best? So basically, We can just talk about the other night where Olivia's sitting there.
Well, I can answer one of her questions specifically. She said
be that you spend all the mental energy preparing the meals.
I wasn't even going to touch that one, but I might come back to that one. But I wanted to answer the one about, do you go to the grocery store or do you get delivery for groceries? I will say, hands down, when COVID hit, I used to do the car pickup grocery. Love that.
Sucker.
Love that.
I haven't been to the grocery store in years.
Now we do delivery because I have 3 kids.
You just gotta with the delivery.
I don't
want
to take them.
With the delivery grocery. You have to realize that you're gonna order whole milk. They're gonna give you skim milk. You're gonna want double stuffed Oreos, and you're gonna get the single Oreos.
And I'm okay with that.
You got to deal with the margin of error.
Well, and also I started getting delivery towards the end of when I was living by myself.
I can't believe how passionate you just got about delivery groceries.
Well, I would sell my body on a corner to keep deliveries. Like if it came down to I had to choose, 100%. And I don't know a mom of 3 that wouldn't. I'm going to be honest. We have had this as teachers at my school. We have had this conversation multiple times. Like if it came down to a budgeting point and I was there as single mom budgeting, I budgeted for delivery. And if it came down to it, you might see me out on the corner if I had to give it up. You didn't know that? That's how passionate I am about it. Why did you?
What? People? Okay. I woke up, my eyes.
Why do you look like you're about to cry?
I don't feel good. My eyes were like a little crusty and I didn't feel great, but this is not the sickness. Like, what?
You wouldn't?
Sell my body on the corner?
If it came down to it.
First of all,
100%.
no one would pay for my body on the corner. Second of all, what?
That is how much I hate going into a grocery store. I also have gotten to the point where I really hate just like putting the things in my cart, which is 100% a first world problem. But I will argue with Mike. I'll say it's your week to order groceries.
Ashley will be taking a sabbatical from Married to the Law podcast.
Why?
HR has felt uncomfortable with this discussion. So if anyone's wondering, next week, Ashley taking some mental health time, going back to that therapist that apparently she doesn't see enough to learn why she should not, quote, sell my body on the corner. What? What? That's child services calling you. You just looked at your phone. That's child services. They heard, and they're going to need to talk to you.
I don't know any mom of 2 or 3 kids that would not feel the same way. If there is, please put it in the comments if you enjoy the grocery store. You know what? Actually, I used to enjoy the grocery store when I got to go by myself. It was a mini vacation. But if I have to go with my kids, absolutely not.
I are going to go with the camera, handheld one. And we're going to do a man on the street interview where we just interview people and go, hey, would you rather go to the grocery store or sell your body on the street corner? And I think you're going to be the only one who's surprised by the results.
You need to line up the scenario, though. It's
also concerning your body's only worth groceries. And I know this is a sarcastic comment, everyone. Coming out of Joe Biden's economy, grocery prices have risen and Trump's going to bring them down. Holy shit. Like...
the scenario is, though, you have 3 kids.
It sounds like more reason not to sell your body on the corner. By the way, this just turned into, great, Ashley's considering prostitution. Like, that's where this just went. Oh, my God. This is right on the heels of right on the heels of the social worker at the school calling us this morning. I hope that guy watches this, and he's going to have some serious questions. So tell your story. Talk your shit. Go ahead. Do it.
I don't want to tell that story.
Oh, I'll tell it. So we've talked about the private school process and how nonsense it is. Part of that nonsense process is Charlie, who's the one going through this, shadowing at different schools, which is following another kid at another school during the school day, taking the SSAT, which, fun fact, that's on a Wednesday during the school day. I was surprised by that.
I was surprised by that too.
Now, one thing Olivia can't do and couldn't do yesterday was make her way home on the bus. If you don't know, this is probably how we'll end it. This will be the last little story, I think. If you don't know, we live walking distance from the school. And nevertheless, our kids...
not kids. our kid. So riding the school bus is a novelty.
That's not what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say our kids are driven by one person sitting right here every morning to school and from school because she's a sucker. And her name is Mrs. Rafey.
Well, because Charlie has to carry her viola some days. That's heavy. It's cold outside.
Yeah, it's too hot. Right now. It's too early. The leaf was blowing outside.
Well, and I
hear there could be a wind gust.
By the time this comes out, this is going to be old news. But there recently was an ice storm in Atlanta. They've
been riding the bus the whole year. What? So yesterday, Olivia rides the bus.
In the afternoons, and Charlie walks
home.
Yeah.
Because technically, Charlie's allowed to walk home and Olivia alone, but Olivia's not allowed to walk home.
She requires a parent to come pick her up from the school.
Which makes no sense.
And Olivia asked to ride the bus.
Editing here.
Olivia loves to ride the bus. It's a novelty because we have never, being a teacher, they would go to the schools that I worked at, so they never had the opportunity to ride a school bus.
And the neighbors next door, they ride the bus from time to time.
And those are Olivia's best friends.
Yeah, and they got interested in that. So Olivia, though, the first time she ever rode the bus, when the bus driver didn't realize that Olivia was on the bus / that where Olivia lived, because the kids next door who get off at the same stop, literally right in front of our two houses.
There are only two houses on our street that use the school bus.
Yeah, so the stop is in front of our house. Yeah. It's actually in front of theirs. But those kids weren't on the bus. So the bus driver gets back to school and says, oh, shit, there's still a kid on my bus. It's the first day Olivia ever rode the bus this year. And Olivia's like, oh, yeah, hi. And Olivia thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Olivia was like, we passed my house.
Yeah, and the bus driver gave her a cookie.
Yeah,
and so now all she wants to do is ride the bus. So yesterday, we are on the heels of a ice and winter storm.
Mm-hmm. In fact, the
storm was over.
Yeah, but there was still some ice. And in fact, we had a delayed start to school. The bus didn't come in the morning. There was some issues with that. And I knew that. And I took the girls to school. But when I took them to school, I said, hey, how do you want to get home? Charlie goes, I want to walk. And I said, okay.
Like a normal human.
Right. Olivia goes, I want to ride the bus. And I said, absolutely.
Keep in mind, Charlie gets home 5 minutes after dismissal. Olivia gets home like 40 minutes after dismissal. It's
she just likes to ride on the bus.
Yeah, we're the closest house, I believe. We're the closest bus stop to the school.
We're the last drop off. So the bus is dropping her off and then they're going.
No, I mean across the whole school, all the buses. We are the closest stop out of any bus to the school in terms of proximity.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, we are.
You've done the research.
And then like 3 days later, I'm like, did you know that our bus stop is like the closest one to the school? I'm like, I told you that. You're gonna steal my fact. So, but for some reason, we're the first pickup and the last drop off. First pickup in the morning, and it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it makes no sense. We should be the last pickup in the morning on the way to school and the first drop off. I don't know why they do that. But I am at work / smoking a cigar yesterday. And you messaged me and go, Olivia's still not off the bus at 3:00, which is very late.
This was 30 minutes after her bus stop time. So her bus stop time is 2:30. I walked down to the end of her driveway and it was, in the teen numbers yesterday. It was cold. So I eventually went and got my car and drove it down to the end of our driveway and sat in that waiting. And so 2:30 is when she's supposed to be dropped off. At 3:00, I call the school. They say the bus has already left the school building. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it must be a substitute bus because there's also an app where you can watch specific buses. And I couldn't see her bus on that app. I say, okay. And then
you had to call in reinforcements.
I called them a second time.
Me.
No, I called the school twice before I called you. I called the school a second time.
You're turning into a Karen on this podcast.
It was 45 minutes later. I called them and I was like, hey, my kid still hasn't made it home. When should I worry? Like, this is a 7-year-old.
They were like, we're not sure.
They really said, they were like, look, the bus has left. There's icy patches. And I was like, okay. And they wouldn't tell me the substitute bus or anything like that. So then I call you because I was like, do I go to the school? Do I stay at the house? Like, where do I go?
Fun fact, the principal of the school, the acting principal, or is he vice principal? He's going to be principal?
I think right now he is the interim principal, but okay. I hope he becomes the full-time principal because he's amazing.
Because it's easy. But the principal had been in a car crash over last summer, I think. And I had talked to him. He had asked me if could I help him on the car crash. Happened down the road here. And we looked into it for him, helped him out the best we could. So I have his cell phone number. So I call the school and I happen to get him on the phone and he's like, oh, hey, really sorry. He knows about Olivia's first bus story because he was there when.
Well, and I have his cell phone number too because I worked for the man.
Yeah, sure. But I called the main school number And
Very respectful.
they were like, he said to me, oh, 4 buses had to be combined in one. Bus drivers didn't show up. And he said, don't worry. I was like, really? She'll be there. Fun fact, they didn't drop her off. We had to go to school to pick her up. But I called you and told you that, and you go, did you call him on his cell phone? Did you call the parent? And I'm like, no, I did not do that. I happened to just get him. I would have if no one answered.
As a teacher, I really appreciate respectful parents like that, because there were a lot of parents that I would call them on my cell phone, and whenever they were responding to me, they would always email me back. If I call you on my cell phone, call me back on my cell phone. If I text you an emergency, or if I'm texting you and not calling you from the school, then there's a reason I need you to respond to my cell phone. I'm talking about parents who months later will then send you a text message and say,
I expect that, though. I expect
hey,
that.
can you go to the playground and make sure my kid doesn't forget his jacket? Things like that. I would rather that come in an email.
Do you ever hit him with a new phone? Who this?
No. I would respond, but I do. Or, at one point I did have a parent email or calling me asking about homework. This was years and years and years ago.
All right, well, we do have to wrap this thing up.
Sorry.
No, but we do also have to finish. We got very distracted when you...
ADHD.
Well,
when you almost cried on the podcast?
Yeah, when you said what you said.
I'm surprised you didn't know that about me.
Can we stop?
Because all of my friends would go, yep,
I'm going to
unsubscribe
from our own fucking podcast pretty soon. Okay. Jesus Christ. I just want to ask who makes dinner. Like, let's just I feel like just tell me who makes the dinner around here.
We didn't finish the bus story. So the bus story is Olivia didn't make it home. The bus driver
went back to school.
It was a substitute bus driver. They didn't know where our bus stop was on our street, since it was only the kids and our neighbors and Olivia that rides the bus. And so she passed her bus, and we had to go and pick up Olivia from the school. But Olivia was fine and happy. The bus today? Yes, she wanted to.
Sucker. All right, so we got to answer these food questions because we got distracted about your...
From Sharon.
In terms of cooking, we're probably like 60-40. 60 you, 40 me.
I was like...
You're about to just attack. No, I think it's about 60-40. I will say that I'm responsible. I'm 100% responsible for takeout, though.
Oh, yes,
so in terms of total number of meals, it's probably 60-40 my way of who's responsible for making the meal or making the meal appear. You just don't want to admit how much we eat out. I think
we should go 50-50.
Sure.
This week we have eaten in. I have made breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Because Uber Eats has been closed because of the snow and the ice.
You're welcome for feeding you. I know.
Yeah, we cook. Like last night I made burgers and macaroni and cheese and broccoli.
Yeah. If it's something like where he grills, I'm not good at the grill. You handle that. And you enjoy doing steaks and things like that.
You cook a lot of pasta, a lot of stuffed shells.
Pasta, yeah.
Pot roast the other night. We both made stew. I'm looking at the pot still sitting out there. Yeah. We both made stew.
Yeah.
You can tell who does a better job on the stew though, because you didn't peel the carrots. I peeled some of the carrots, and the peeled carrots were so much better.
At least I was making it. The problem with that is I feel like we eat the same thing every week, but we know what we like.
We eat like 10 things.
Yeah. But we do a rotation, and every now and then we'll throw something new in there. I think that's a hard part of being a parent, because you're exhausted at the end of the day. The kids are exhausted at the end of the day.
We know we can take some tuna fillets out of the freezer, thaw them, grill them, throw some sesame seeds on them and some soy sauce, and it looks like $1 million, and it's really easy to make.
Well, and I would be happy eating cheese and crackers for dinner, but with our kids, we can't.
Okay, social services.
For me,
conversation.
Cheese and crackers? Are you kidding? Brie, you wouldn't eat like salami and cheese for dinner? Okay. Well, anyways, or like the prosciutto?
Sure, I'd eat that, but I feel like an Arby's. Where's the meat? It's like, I'm hungry. No, like I want food.
Oh, okay.
The girls eat more like I do than you're a gatherer, like a picker.
Yeah.
You just graze. You're a grazer.
I'm a grazer. I think that's I am a grazer, but I graze all day long.
The girls and I are into meals. We eat real food, substantive food. But we eat, what everybody else eats: chicken, steak,
Taco
Tuesdays, which rarely is on Tuesdays. But yeah, and then
spaghetti.
Well, and then to round out our food topics, because I am hungry. Are we teaching kids how to buy groceries, how to pick up food? No, because Ashley's on the corner selling herself for delivery.
But you know what? One thing I will say though, you taught the girls, and I didn't think about this until
you taught the girls. I'm like,
I didn't know this until, like, I didn't think about this, and maybe it was because the girls were so young. But once we started dating and we would go out to eat, you would say, you know, I think it's really important that the kids can order their own food.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Well, and that's a huge learning curve. Like, you don't realize it, but we went to dinner the other night to celebrate Charlie taking that test,
being done with it,
for
for
private school.
Steak. Great place. Kevin Rathman
He lives right down the road.
So he cooks outside. And if you're from Atlanta, you'll know how good this place is. But he cooks outside and I smell his food. And then like a sucker, 2 days later, I'm like, I got to go to Rathman's. And I don't know why, but mentally I've smelled him cooking. Yeah. So it's like my favorite place to go. So we went to Rathman's and I've never been so proud and upset as a parent ever. Is I got a steak, which was different than hers. And she asked for a piece of my steak. And I'm like, here. And I knew it was going to happen. And I'm proud because she puts the steak in her mouth and goes, her eyes lit up. And I was so proud. I was like, yep, this is a really good steak. And then I just got so sad when she goes, I'm going to have that every single time. And I was like, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Well,
like,
I don't even think...
If you want to go to college, you won't, because that's our college budget.
I don't even think that they had a kids menu. And so I actually called before we went to make sure that they had a high chair. And we went for an early reservation. Like, I'm talking 5:30 reservation, because we had the baby with us.
That's a normal time for eating.
Yeah, but
Live or die dinner at 5.
We had a game plan. We were trying to get in and get out, like, but still have a nice dinner. But we have a 1-year-old who, you know...
He's got a time limit on him.
He's got a time limit. And I was so proud of the girls being able to say, I think... Olivia goes, may I have a steak that is medium well, please?
No,
or she said, medium rare. Yeah. And you were like, no, medium well.
No, I didn't say no. I said medium.
Medium. Okay.
She's not weird. She's in this weird spot where she loves steak, doesn't love the blood, but wants the juice, like wants the steak to be juicy. So I go medium for her. Charlie, I go medium rare.
And they were so polite.
Don't tell people. We are not. Look. This is more offensive than you being on the corner. We are not a medium well family. Sorry,
I said that wrong. Wow. But no, so I was so proud of the kids and the way that they handled that. And
may I please have some more bread or butter, or can you tell me where the bathroom is? Yeah. I mean,
and that's something that we've had to actually like work on.
The next time the guy calls you and tells you that they missed school, you'd be like, well, we were at restaurants and they were learning how to order for themselves. So shut up, because that is a life skill. And you know what? In fact, they can order food in an airport. Double whammy.
Well, and also, I mean, they'll have like their little tablets or some every now and then for dinner, which they actually didn't have it at this dinner. But if they do, we've had, you have to put that down so that you can talk to people and look them in the eye when you're talking to them, because the waiter doesn't know what you're saying if you're not looking at them.
They went from like, no, I'm not going to order, to,
or I don't want to talk to them, I'm scared.
Yeah, sure. To mumbling, to then getting the words out, but quickly because they're nervously, and now they're just like, Yeah,
and that is absolutely a life
really
skill.
Can
I have the broccoli on the side or something? Yeah. And then unfortunately the dinner ended with you having wine spilled on your tan pants.
Yep. So fun fact, these tan pants, which were not the same ones, this is my second pair of these tan pants because you spilt wine on the first one of these.
Because I talk with my hands, and I was talking with my hands.
Touching people too. So what we've learned in this episode, okay? What we've learned in this episode is Ashley touches people, works on the corner, and...
doesn't work on the corner, would work on the corner if I needed to get...
Podcast over.